Sonya and Sasha, for real.
Back in the day when we were on another station that I don't even want to say.
We won't mention it.
We
Keep
won't even
moving.
mention it. We just had this. We had this third part of us. Okay, it was like the other. It was like this other love. So it's you and I, and then we all of a sudden we thought we need another Capricorn in this bunch, and then we brought in Frank Barca. Can we? And now we have finally been able to get him onto the new Sonya and Sasha for real show. Frankie's here. Can we give this massive round of applause for the other Capricorn in our lives, Frankie? Woo!
Hey!
You guys are funny. How's it going, guys? Thank you for having me. This is very exciting. I've been very excited for you. I've been waiting a while for you guys to finally be snatched up. I couldn't believe how slow Melbourne radio has been to snap you up, but lucky for them, they have you here, and it's just so awesome to have you guys back on the airwaves. I'm super excited to be doing this, and albeit Zoom style, but nonetheless super exciting. So how you girls doing?
We've missed you, Frank. We've missed you. Now, in this time during the pandemic, you did this before. You started a podcast that's now gone mental. Like, you've got so many people watching and followers. And you know what I love about this podcast is that you are so real. You're next level. You're Frankie for real.
Yeah.
Tell us about this podcast.
Well, the 10 podcast it's just our 2-year anniversary, actually. Manny and I, look, forever I wanted to, Sash, because we had conversations, so many conversations, and same with you, Sonya, about wanting to find that perfect person to be able to just anchor off one another, to be able to launch a successful podcast. Because, it takes two to tango when it comes to podcasting. It's very difficult to do it solo, but to do it with an awesome partner in crime, just like you guys are. Like, I was just trying to thinking, look at these girls. They're just killing it on radio. We've got to be able to have a platform to be able to, bring our experience to the people, because, I've kind of dabbled in a few things over the last, almost 50 years, and finding that perfect partner to be able to bounce off was critical. And finally got Manny in, and he's a professional musician, a songwriter, co-producer, guitarist, singer as well on Closure in Moscow, one of Australia's most successful bands. They've done world tours, multiple albums, just finished writing their third album. He's one of the most successful auctioneers in Melbourne. He's one of my students, undertaking jiu-jitsu right now, and coming together was just awesome. And we've just had our 2-year anniversary. So that's been going strong. You can find us on iTunes and all the major platforms on that. And it's just an awesome opportunity to be able to share some of our stories and experience, and also bringing that into current affairs. And of course, in our second year, the pandemic hit. So, for podcasting, it's pretty, and for radio, I guess it's not very difficult to talk about stuff, because things are just rolling on the hour, especially where we've come from with our second wave. Candy and Charlie were talking about things maybe going down that road, but I think we've already had our second wave, and we're out of the second wave, and we kind of see the whole of the world, especially in America, going through their second wave. So I think we're actually a little bit ahead, to be honest. But
yes,
and as you mentioned, this rollout with vaccines and whatnot, I don't want to get into it right now because of time and whatnot. But on the podcast, we cover all of these things, and that's where you're coming from with the real part of it too, is that we get to see and hear our true intentions and what our feelings are, what's going on with current affairs, and they affect us all deeply, very deeply. Businesses. My business was ground to dust, over this time. I'm just we're in the rebuilding phase of it right now. And talk about, men measured best, men as in generic, when like trees, when they've been cut down, and we definitely have had our fair share of being cut down, and all of us have. Our businesses, gone to zero. Schools were out for most of the year. Of course, what you guys do in the schools are unbelievable. And we haven't had a chance to go back to doing that. And we're looking forward to 2021. That's for sure. So yeah. And I'm going to squeeze as much as I can out of 2020. I know we only have a little bit of time left, and our birthdays are around the corner. I'm turning 50 in a few days. So it's crazy,
50?
right?
Are you having a party, Frank?
No, I'm not. No.
What?
No.
Frank, are you kidding?
I know.
Can you just not have, could you imagine Frank turning 50 with Sonya and Sasha and a couple of tequilas? Like, that's something we have to not put on radio. That's what I can say. That's what I can say, because that would not be right if we did that, because it would be sharing way too much personal information.
Definitely.
And certainly not going to see it on our Instagram as well. But let me say, right, one of the things I love listening to your podcast, and one of the things that I love about it is, firstly, you bring up some incredible points. And not all of them I agree with.
Sure.
But all of the, and I love the fact that you're so free in the way that you speak. But the other thing is, it's so intelligent. Like you put in so much background research. I mean, the facts and the stats and the figures that you're handing out, this is not just like two guys that have got together and have something to say about their opinion. I mean, you can tell your hard work ethic goes into this.
Yeah, we're asking questions, and that's what the podcast, especially now with the pandemic, because so many people are very busy and distracted with their, survival instincts, taking care of business, protecting what they already have, and getting on with it. But there's been a lot of people that have lost everything too. A lot of people have lost their businesses. Their businesses have been ground to zero. And when that's you, which definitely was me and Manny, we just had each other, and we said, well, look, I'm just going to go and look, or we're going to ask questions, and we're going to find as many factual things as we can to support our questions, right? I mean, it's one thing getting information from the media, then you got to ask the question and then question those answers, but not just question them, but then go deep into finding out about that, opening up the opportunities and speaking to the right people, getting in front of the right information. And, and I don't want to get into it too much here because, we just don't have time, but it's very important that we all get informed. If I can just give everybody just one little piece of advice, not that I'm one to be able to give advice.
Yes, you are, Frank.
Yes, you are, Frank.
But in my experience, and Manny's too, not just mine, and we don't agree on everything, but man, the facts don't lie. I mean, the facts don't lie. And when you look into it, I just want to say that the mainstream media don't really give us all the facts, although we like to think that they are the true providers of all the facts. But I'm sorry to say that it's not the case, and we need to take it upon ourselves to be courageous, to look a little deeper, to find those answers. That's all the podcast is pretty much about right now. So
that's what I love about it, because it really does educate you. So it's entertaining because you're like, well, I love it because, you both have these extreme different energies,
right?
Like Manny's got an aggressive kind of, come at you with facts and that, and you're like, and I love that. And it's just like these two energies that
I'm
come.
a crazy bird.
No, but not at all. It's not at all. It's it's probably one of the best podcasts that I've heard. And I'm telling you now, I love it. I love it. And I've put other people onto it. I really enjoy it because it forces me to think differently. And that's all. I think that's all it is.
Right.
Forces me to think differently. Like I said, don't necessarily agree with all of the stuff. Some of the stuff I'm like, whoa, okay, you're pushing me to the edge.
Yeah.
But the point is, there you go. Frank,
you know what we love about that as well? It just challenges us. Don't just accept what everyone's telling us to believe in. You need to actually do your own research, grow a bit of a brain, and get some knowledge about this stuff. Don't just accept what's on the nightly news. That's
what they want you to do.
So, yeah, that's exactly right. And I think a lot of people are delving into that now. We've had the time, oh no, I don't know whether that sounds right. And we can get on and Google stuff. Frankie, tell us what your podcast is called and how we can get it.
Okay, it's called The 10 Podcast. That's 10, The 10 Podcast. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. Go to iTunes and all your usual platforms that you can on Stitcher and all those things. You can find us there. So, give us a listen, give us a chance, and hopefully we can get you hooked. And thanks for having me. This has been
brilliant. Frank Barca, we always love having you on the show. Thank you so much for being with us today. Sash, this is the end of our second last show for the year. Next up is our big interview with the big, lively, amazingly funny, hilarious Sushi Mango guys. We're really proud of this one, so make sure you stick around and have a listen to this. We will see you next week. Thank you so much for all of our guests today. Thank you, Sasha. Can't wait to see you soon.
See you.
The Sonya and Sacha For Real show will be back for our last show next week. You've been listening to BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. Stay tuned for Sushi Mango.
Sonya and Sacha, for real.